Ameya Performing Arts presents Arrival.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sneha Gill, Ameya's Director of Finance. I am so honored to be standing here before you tonight, welcoming you to Ameya's second dance showcase, Arrival. This dance showcase has been a culmination of years and years of passionate dancers yearning for a place to call home. Just 6 years ago, a group of 7 driven and talented women sat in the home of our executive director, planning a women-led dance organization that we could all feel invested in. A place where we could cultivate our styles and execute our vision the way that we wanted to, with precision, professionalism, and excellence. We hoped that we could make it work. We hoped that we would be welcomed by the Chicago community, that we could attract new and fresh dancers, and that we could financially sustain our dream. We hoped that we could balance our full-time jobs, professional careers, and roles as mothers, daughters, sisters, and partners with the passion that we had for this new venture. This night is a manifestation of those hopes hopes that were only slightly delayed by 966 days from our original showcase date of March 28th, 2020, but something had come up around then. So you see, this night is very, very special to us. Over the last 6 years, we've grown by 12 incredible dancers, all who have brought their own excitement and expertise to the team, helping us grow both individually and as a unit. We created and performed our first dance showcase, Boundless, in November of 2017, and even had the opportunity to tour it across state lines. We watched each other become mothers, having a collective total of 13 children on the team, with 2 on the way. I myself just gave birth to a baby boy 6 weeks ago, so I am especially grateful to be dancing on stage tonight. We supported each other during this transition to motherhood, each while maintaining our own commitment to the team and working to instill the same passion that we have in our own kids. This night proves that with your help, we can do it all. We can continuously work towards creating and iterating pieces that speak to us, all while remaining rooted in our own lives. And this showcase is just that, a creative depiction of a story that is very near and dear to us, to our families, and hopefully to you as well. As a female-led troupe, the stories of women past and present provide great inspiration to us. When we think about our lives as first-generation Indian American women, we can't help but think about the journeys that our mothers took just a few decades ago. Our mothers who crossed oceans into unknown territory to build a better life for her unborn children. Our mothers who helped shape our own identities as Indian American women. And our mothers and fathers who instill in us a deep sense of pride and belonging to both cultures that we belong to. In this 3-act performance, our dancers aim to depict some of the pressures, triumphs, and challenges that our generation and the generation before us face due to this blending of cultures. The show will utilize choreographed dance pieces to follow 2 fictional characters, Meghana and Nandini, as we tell their multi-generational mother-daughter story. The show will also utilize dances set to spoken word poetry to depict even more emotion of these 2 fictional characters. We first follow Meghana, a woman who moves from India to America after her arranged marriage to embark on a new journey. She longs for home and her motherland, all while facing discrimination in her new country, yet still perseveres in finding self-love. We then continue on to her daughter, Nandini, who faces the difficulties of life as a first-generation Indian American girl, both at home and at school. In addition to the dances, you will also hear from 2 speakers bound by their mother-daughter relationship. Our first speaker, Neerja, will discuss her first-hand immigrant experience, and her daughter, Suruchi, will share a bit about her life as a first-generation American. We thank Neerja Banka and Suruchi Keenhill for graciously accepting the stage at our request. We would like to thank the University of Chicago Logan Center staff, our stage manager, and our families and loved ones for their continued support. And lastly, we thank you, our audience, for sharing this very special evening with us, 2.5 years later than our original showcase date, and for helping us achieve that goal we dreamt many, many years ago. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Act 1. Leaving home and chasing dreams. It's 1975. Meet Meghana. She is a confident, educated, young woman living in India with her family. She enjoys painting, reading novels, and learning how to cook Indian delicacies. She has finished her studies in psychology and is looking forward to the next chapter of her life.
मिट्टी पे खींची लकीरें रब ने तो ये तस्वीर बनी, आग हवा पानी को मिलाया तो फिर ये तस्वीर सजी। हस्ती तेरी विशाल हो, कुदरत का तू कमाल है। मनमोहिनी तेरी अदा, तुझे जब देख ले तो फिर घटा भर से झर 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 नाच चमक चमक वो बिजली दीवानी है। बेमिसाल तू कोरी कोरी अनछुई, तुझ में है कुदरत सारी खोई, कुछ में है कुदरत सारी खोई खोई, तुझ में है कुदरत सारी खोई खोई। मिट्टी की है मूरत तेरी, मासूमियत फितरत तेरी, ये सादापन ये भोलापन, तू महकी महकी तू लहकी लहकी तू चली चली हर गली गली तू, हवा के ढंग संग सनन सनन तेरा अंग अंग जैसे जलता रंग, कोई लहर लहर चली ठहर ठहर पानी का मेल, तेरे तन बदन झर 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 अंगारे जैसा, तेरा रोम रोम है दहका दहका अग्नि का खेल, तू अगन अगन। जरा थिरक थिरक करा लचक लचक, कभी मटक मटक कभी ठुमक ठुमक, चली झूम झूम कभी घूम घूम, धरती को चूम मची धूम धूम, चंचल बड़ी तू नटखट बड़ी तू महकी बहार रस की फुहार, तेरे तीखे नैन तेरे केश रैन, ये बल खाना ये इतराना।
Meghana's parents amicably share the news that she has received a marriage proposal. Meghana obliges to meet him. Her conversations with him and their shared ambition to start a new life in America excite her. Meghana accepts the proposal with abundant hope for their shared future. An unconventional love story unfolds as these two strangers learn to fall in love leading up to the wedding day.
And they met one day, two strangers, 10 minutes to decide on their lives. Few questions asked, infinite unspoken words, and the decision was made. 3 months passed, and they met again, only on their wedding day. Stolen glances, hidden smiles, endless emotions in their eyes. No one could say it's their second meeting. Looked like they knew each other since years. They already seemed so much in love, love that had only grown with time. And whenever I see them, I wonder, how did you know it would be all right? We just knew it, they say. An inner voice told them they were born to be one someday.
जाने क्या हो अब आगे रे, पिया तो से पिया तो से पिया तो से नैना लागे रे। हाँ हो रात को जब चांद चमके जल उठे तन मेरा, मैं कहूँ मत करो चंदा इस गली का फेरा, आना मोरा सैया जब से पिया तो से पिया तो से नैना लागे रे नैना लागे रे जाने क्या हो अब आगे रे नैना लागे रे पिया तो से नैना लागे रे
तेरे ख्यालों में बीते रातें दिल मेरा मांगे एक ही दुआ तू सामने हो और करूं मैं बातें लम्हा रहे यूं ठहरा हुआ पहले तो कभी यूं मुझको ना ऐसा कुछ हुआ दीवानी लहरों को जैसे साहिल मिला एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा ओ मेरे सोनिया वे छड़ सारी गलियां में नाल तेरे तुर चलिया मैं ले चलूं मुझको दुनिया से तू दूर चोरी चोरी जद तेनू तक्या मैं खुद को संभाल न सकिया मैं चढ़ गया सजना तेरा ये फितूर रंग जानी रे मर जानी रात कहनी जो थी कह दे वो बात लग जानी रे मर जानी रात कहनी जो थी कह दे वो बात ओ एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा
Our hearts never conversed. Our minds never met. Miles apart were our worlds. Out of the blue, you walked in to travel with me till eternity. Just a sacred thread binds our soul. Strange is your claim on me. Unknown was I to you yesterday. You hold me in arms today. With you, I walk into a maze, miles into an unexplored land.
The wedding has arrived. Meghana is filled with excitement and anticipation. On the wedding day, Meghana takes in all the joy around her and feels overwhelmed with love as she looks around the wedding pavilion at her parents, her new family, and the man she is marrying. As the ceremony comes to an end, emotions run high as Meghana and her family perform a traditional Vidai ceremony. She hugs her friends and touches the feet of her respected elders as she seeks their blessings and bids her family farewell.
रास रचिलो साज सजिलो शुभ घड़ी छे आवी आछा आछा टमटमाता शमणाओ छे लावी ओ लावी ओ लावी रंगी परोड़ आवी खुशियों संगे लावी हर खाए हयू हाय हाय रंगी परोड़ आवी खुशियों संगे लावी हर खाए हयू हाय हाय
अपनी बनेगी हो ख्वाबों के बीच कच्ची जमीन पे हमको बोना है आशा के मोती सांसों की माला हमें पिरोना है अपना बोझा मिल के साथ ही हमको ढोना है शहनाई 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 मैडम जी देसी फैशन विलायती बोली में घोली मीठी इलायची हिले ऊंची फॉरेन रिटर्न नखरा बातें बड़ी है हाय फाय बिगला पिया पे एटीट्यूड वखरा झूमे ऐसे ना रोकी जाए ओ जद्दो नच्चे बेबी सज धज लगदी है ठाई जद्दो नच्चे बेबी सज धज लगदी है ठाई जद्दो नच्चे बेबी सज धज लगदी है ठाई जद्दो नच्चे बेबी सज धज लगदी है ठाई
लागे सबने एक ऊंचे से रब ने बना दी जोड़ी
उंगली पकड़ के तूने चलना सिखाया था ना दहलीज ऊंची है ये पार करा दे बाबा मैं तेरी मलिका टुकड़ा हूँ तेरे दिल का एक बार फिर से दहलीज पार करा दे मुड़ के ना देखो दिलबरो दिलबरो मुड़ के ना देखो दिलबरो मुड़ के ना देखो दिलबरो दिलबरो मुड़ के ना देखो दिलबरो फसलें जो काटी जाए उगती नहीं है बेटियां जो ब्याही जाए मुड़ती नहीं है ऐसी विदाई हो तो लंबी जुदाई हो तो दहलीज दर्द की भी पार करा दे बाबा मैं तेरी मलिका टुकड़ा हूँ तेरे दिल का एक बार फिर से दहलीज पार करा दे मुड़ के ना देखो दिलबरो दिलबरो मुड़ के ना देखो दिलबरो मुड़ के ना देखो दिलबरो मुड़ के ना देखो दिलबरो
After the wedding, Meghana must say goodbye to her family, leave her home, and prepare for her new life in America. She contemplates the exciting yet daunting journey that lies ahead.
Take your journals and your paintings across the ocean when you leave. These will remind you who you are. When you get lost amid new cities, they will also remind your children you had an entire life before them.
Good evening. My name is Neerja, and I'm happy to share my arrival story with you guys tonight. On March 23rd, 1983, I got on a plane for the first time in my life, headed from New Delhi to Detroit, Michigan. I was above the clouds, both literally and metaphorically. Having recently earned a PhD and gotten married, I had boundless dreams and anticipation of a bright career, a loving family, perhaps a couple of kids. Sure, I was apprehensive about leaving behind everything familiar to me: my family, my friends, my colleagues, my home, and my country. But I had faith that my education and self-confidence would carry me through the exciting adventures of settling into a new life. I told myself, everything will turn out great. The first thing that shocked me about my new American life was that I could not move about freely because I didn't drive. You see, when I was in India, I could reach independently multiple places through many affordable means. I could not fathom that I would be going to a rich, progressive country and become dependent for transportation. Words can't begin to express the sense of freedom I felt upon finally getting my driver's license. When I got my first job, I was thrilled to be entering the familiar setting of a lab since I had devoted years to doing research in college. What I was not prepared for was the fact that differences in social conventions and cultural assumptions would eclipse the common scientific processes of a laboratory. When I felt down and isolated, it was my newfound connections with a diverse group of American friends that kept me afloat. They helped me understand the workplace customs and positioned me to achieve professional success. A year after moving halfway across the world, I was blessed with a beautiful daughter, Suruchi, my Jania. I was ecstatic, yet nervous. How would I raise her with my family thousands of miles away? Would I be letting my parents down if I failed in passing on our values, our language, or religion to her? I started reflecting on the best of the culture I came with and the best of the culture I encountered here in the US. That's what I wished for her, the best of both worlds. When Suruchi was 4 years old, another major event happened in our lives. Counter to the norm in our Indian community, I got out of my marriage after all my efforts at keeping it intact failed. Here I was, a single parent in a land in which I was still getting established. I searched for a village that would help me raise Suruchi and impart our vibrant Indian traditions to her. I reached out to some Indian friends who would become as close as family, with whom we would have sleepovers, celebrate Diwali, Holi, and other festivals. I also discovered an Indian dance organization called Nadanta, with the motto, link to the past, bridge to the future. Dancing, as well as the wonderful relationships with other dancers and their families, enriched both of our lives for over a decade. The day I dropped Suruchi off at her dream college, the University of Michigan, I was excited. My daughter was ready to conquer the world. However, when she immersed herself in her own life, college, career, and love, I saw an unrecognizable perspective right at my doorstep. Thus began my emotional roller coaster ride, with elation at her successes and despair at the thought of surrendering my home to a different culture. We celebrated her accomplishments together, and we argued, and we sometimes cried together, trying to resolve the gap that had arisen between me and my Jania. Ultimately, we realized that we would need to listen and learn from each other with curiosity, respect, and love in order to bridge this divide. Hence, we started our journey towards a happier and more fulfilling relationship. Having spent more than half my life here in the US, I consider it my home, the place where I belong. So I'm devastated by the political turmoil of recent years, which has brought to surface questions such as, who is a real American, deserving of the freedoms promised by this innovative nation? I hope with all my heart that the democratic ideals that were instrumental in me enjoying the best of my adopted homeland will prevail, allowing Suruchi and her wonderful family to thrive in an environment that's even better than the one that welcomed me here upon my arrival. Now let's turn our attention back to the story of Meghana, the fictional character depicted by the wonderful dancers of Ameya Performing Arts. We last saw her leaving her home back in India, and I'm looking forward to her story unfold as an immigrant woman here in the US.
Act 2. Navigating a New World. After the wedding, Meghana must say goodbye to her family, leave her home, and begin a new life with her husband, whom she is still getting to know. Meghana arrives in America feeling nervous and curious as she and her husband begin setting up a life together. As the weeks and months slowly push forward, her positive resolve begins to fade and is replaced with a yearning for her home in India. She longs to see her parents and family, to walk the streets of her hometown, to see and interact with people who look and talk like her, to experience familiar smells and sounds, and to ultimately go back to an environment she is completely comfortable in.
रसोई की आग सब सताता है मुझे, घर याद आता है मुझे, घर याद आता है मुझे।
जिन दिलों में रहा मैं बरसों तक एक हिस्सा में मेरा भी था, फिर वहीं रहना है मुझे, घर याद आता है मुझे, घर याद आता है मुझे।
Back home is mango and sugarcane residue, kaleidoscope memories, and your father's heart. It is roadside curation, making much from little. It is the perfect pronunciation of your name. It is tea in a glass, rice with your hands, and your mother's hope that you don't forget. It is Majesty and the Moon. It is Layla and Majnu. The laymen know verses we could only dream of writing. It is the bazaar and the darbar. It is a favorable exchange rate. It is you haven't tasted better. Don't eat from the street cellar. Back home is the sitar, the chaos of car horns, and a climate your blood remembers.
But back home isn't yours. Sons of those who destroyed it return to find themselves while you watch from afar. 2 flags and a few words of 2 national anthems, 1 passport and half an idea of what you're supposed to do. Back home is not for you, your sheltered ways, your better days, your escapist guilt. It is patience wearing thin, dark skin is still a sin. The colonial crumbs, it is breaking from within. Back home may evade you. This island may evade you. This earth may evade you. But there is much peace to be made in your lonely search.
Slowly but surely, Meghana becomes acclimated with her surroundings. Meghana sets focus on getting a job. She is excited at the prospect of advancing her career. However, in meetings and interviews, Meghana is faced with discrimination and judgment. People quickly become frustrated with her foreign accent. She is repeatedly told her degree doesn't hold value in America. She gets strange looks from people because of the color of her skin, her traditional clothing, and her inability to fit in. However, the rejection doesn't break her. She pushes forward and sees herself as a phoenix, rising above the negativity of her circumstances.
You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like air, I'll rise.
Through sacrifice and resilience, Meghana and her husband continue to build a life together in America. They bond over their shared workplace challenges and help each other overcome them with support and love. They create an Indian community and sustain lasting relationships. Meghana passionately maintains her Indian traditions and incorporates them into her family life in America.
मेरे मन ये बता दे तू किस ओर चला है तू क्या पाया नहीं तूने क्या ढूंढ रहा है तू जो है अनकही जो है अनसुनी वो बात क्या है बता मितवा
Good evening. My name is Suruchi, and I'm the daughter of Neerja, who you had a chance to hear from earlier. My first memories of my life take place at 8283 West Parkway on the west side of Detroit. In some ways, I was a typical American kid. I ate Apple Jacks, I watched Disney movies, I rode my big wheel around our neighborhood with my friends Carl, David, and Sarah. But in other ways, the earliest years of my life were markedly different from most of my American friends. While they went to church or spent Sunday mornings with their families, we went to the mandir to do arti and sing bhajans. No other kids I knew spoke 2 languages, but my mom, who had faith that I'd master English at school, consistently pretended she only knew Hindi, so I had no option but to communicate with her in my literal mother tongue. I'll never forget that magical moment during my first visit to India when, as a 4-year-old, Hindi clicked in my brain and I became bilingual. Though I could converse with my Hindi-speaking relatives whom I met in Delhi, Gurgaon, and Chandigarh, it was obvious to them and to me that I was a foreigner. And when I returned home to Michigan, my newly acquired memories and mannerisms, like the mehndi still staining my palms, signaled that I was different from my peers who had been in the States for generations. I was Indian and I was American, and yet somehow I was neither Indian enough nor American enough. Navigating the cultural differences was confusing and tiresome, especially since I was an only child, a sometimes lonely child. My mom noticed my need for an expressive outlet and a way to integrate my Indian identity into my American life. In 1990, when I was 6 years old, and she was about the age I am today, she proposed to me the idea of taking Indian dance lessons. Though I was a little hesitant, my kindergarten teacher, Miss Davis, convinced me to give dancing a try. And that decision, over any other event in my young life, was the biggest turning point for me. My guru had me and my dance classmates start with the basics. Te ya te, te ya te. And over the years, she systematically layered more complex steps onto that foundation. Te ya te became takita takita te, takadhimi takadhimi. A few years later, I joined a second dance school, an American one, where I added to my repertoire. Stomp, hop, shuffle, step, flap, step, stomp, pull, hop, flap, ball change. I learned that dancing, like language, was a new medium in which to practice code switching and experiment with my identity. Out in the world, I was an awkward, scrawny little girl with brown skin, hairy arms, and glasses. I often felt unseen, voiceless, undervalued, and misunderstood. But when I danced, I felt strong and confident, joyful and free. I could take a break from the ambiguity of who I should be, and I could just be. It took a lot of dancing, the passage of time, a village of aunties, uncles, and friends, a good bit of therapy, being off on my own at college, traveling to different places, and lots of honest self-reflection for me to begin to recognize my self-worth. And as I realized all that I had to offer within the theater of life, the qualities instilled in me as a young dancer continued to influence my movement through the world in the various roles I would play. Grace as a virtuous daughter to my remarkable mom, strength and stamina as a parent myself, focus and poise as an educator and public speaker. In 2006, another life-altering event transpired. I met my life partner. Musa embraced me for me, my American elements, the Indian ones, the ones that are both, and the ones that are neither. Our wedding celebration was a fusion of Indian and American cultures, cuisines, and music, and our life together is a beautiful blend that is distinctively us. And now that we have 2 little ones of our own, Ahan and Avia, we have the responsibility and the privilege of teaching them to navigate a diversity of experiences. In our home, we speak English and Hindi. We eat macaroni and makki ki roti. Our dance parties feature hip hop and bhangra. We trim a tree for Christmas and light diyas on Diwali. We play charades and antakshari. We invent multilingual remixes of butterfly-themed nursery rhymes like Titali Uri jo chali, Fool ne kaha, Aja mere paas, Vuela mariposa, mariposita, entre las flores de mi jardín. People still try to place me into a neat box. Where are you from? Detroit, Michigan. No, where are you from? I believe what you want to know is why I look the way I do, why my name is Suruchi, why my mom's homemade rajma chawal that I packed for lunch this morning smells so divine. That's because I'm lucky that my family is from India. But before you make 100 assumptions about what that means to you, know that being South Asian American is an intersectional experience for me, a valuable one, a powerful one, and one that I would never change. Now the incredible dancers of Ameya Performing Arts will take us back to the story of Meghana. Last we saw her, she was settling down with her new husband, and now the third act will focus on their daughter, Nandini, who faces similar challenges to the ones that I've experienced as a first-generation Indian American. Thank you.
Act 3. Redefining Cultural Identity. Meghana continues to settle into her life in America. She is overjoyed when she becomes the mother of a beautiful girl, Nandini. Nandini grows from a curious child into an intelligent but awkward teenager. She is plagued with teenage angst. At 16 years old, she becomes aware of how different she is from her classmates. Being the only Indian girl in school, Nandini notices physical and cultural differences that set her apart from her peers. These differences cause Nandini to feel like an outcast, not American enough, and very isolated. In order to overcome the overwhelming feeling of being an outsider, Nandini conforms to the majority and shies away from her Indian heritage at school. She dyes her hair with caramel highlights, wears colored contacts, throws away any Indian food in her lunch, and begins introducing herself as Nina instead of Nandini. While these changes allow Nandini to experience a fleeting sense of belonging and validation, she continues to struggle with who she really is. She feels invisible, caught between being who she thinks she should be and who she really wants to be.
Crowded hallways are the loneliest places for outcasts and rebels, or anyone find out where your place is. But in their narrow minds, there's no room for anyone who dares to do something different. Oh, but listen for a minute. Hear me out. There's so much more to this life than what you're feeling now. And someday you'll look back on all these days, and all this pain is gonna be invisible. And you're not invisible. And all this pain is gonna be invisible. It'll be invisible.
I am from there. I am from here. I am not there, and I am not here. I have two names, which meet and part, and I have two languages. I forget which of them I dream in.
The pressure of being more American than Indian weighs deeply on Nandini's conscience. Having watched her parents silently grapple with their own difficulties, Nandini practices the same learned behavior and thus silently falls deeper into loneliness as she keeps her American life hidden from her parents and her Indian life hidden from her peers, believing no one will fully accept her. She struggles to fully identify with either culture. When it becomes too much to handle alone, Nandini resolves to confide in her parents. She tells them about the identity crisis she is experiencing. To her surprise, her parents not only listen to her, but also relate to her inner struggle. They regale her with stories of what they once endured as immigrants in a new country and how they maintained their Indian roots while assimilating into the American culture. Nandini smiles, looking at her parents, and realizes that they are in this together as a family.
जो लहू मेरा बहता चला देखो जुनू मेरा कहता चला ख्वाबों का था मकान जो डहता चला
With her family's support, Nandini finds a balance between her American and Indian identities. She realizes along the way that she is building a new way of life, a new culture that blends Indian and American traditions. Nandini is grateful to have the luxury of choice, the privilege of passion, and the strength to be who she wants to be.
We are the new America.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family. We hope you've enjoyed the show so far. My name is Nisha Kishore, one of Ameya Performing Arts Showcase Directors. We feel incredibly humbled to have you all sitting here with us today, watching a story unfold that is so personal to all of us on Ameya, as well as extremely relevant in today's social climate. Whether you are male, female, of an Indian heritage or another, we hope you've been able to relate to this story in some capacity. Back in 2020, when we originally planned to debut Arrival, the polarizing viewpoints on the immigration landscape in America was at its height. It felt like the perfect opportunity for a troupe of women who are the product of immigrant parents to showcase and address the struggles and triumphs of this journey. So from concept to production, 3 years and a pandemic later, this troupe of women have poured their hearts and souls into this show. Because to us, it's so much more than just a dance show. The ladies of Ameya Performing Arts feel immense gratitude to our immigrant parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. Our parents came here for freedom, a new life, more opportunities, less corruption, and to achieve the American dream, ultimately hoping to allow the next generation to live out that dream. They risked it all, and for that, we are so grateful. The things they simply just had to accept: discrimination, job inequality, sense of insecurity, are the very things that our generation is able to confront and challenge every day. As Hassan Minhaj has stated, our parents' generation came here to survive, and we are here to live. He said, unlike my parents, I grew up in America, so I have the audacity of expecting equality. This simple yet powerful statement encapsulates the feelings of each and every one of us here on Ameya Performing Arts. Our audacity is only possible because of the stability afforded to us through the trials, tribulations, sacrifices, and struggles of our parents. All of the ladies of Ameya recognize the privilege that we have been afforded, but we do not apologize for it. Instead, we strive to push the boundaries of so-called equality each day because we understand the heavy price paid by those who came before us. There has been amazing progress and evolution as the last generation has passed the torch to the current generation. But our path has not been easy or free of obstacles. As first-generation Americans and the sons and daughters of immigrant parents, we often struggle to find our true identity, our true culture, and often felt as though we were never Indian enough or American enough. We were dogged by internal questions growing up, such as, do we go down the quote-unquote straight and narrow path that our parents expect of us, knowing what they had to put on the line? Or do we take the freedoms that our parents worked so hard to afford us to venture out on our own path, one that is individual, unapologetic, and true to us? I believe the best way to honor our parents' struggles is to take the solid foundation they've created for us in this country and fight for our rights. I am sure I am not the only one in this room when I say I am sick and tired of hearing about the hate crimes and attacks on minority groups. It has to stop. And the power is in our generation's hands to do something about it. We can no longer take an apathetic approach and wait until it's hit way too close to home. It already has, and the time is now. It is imperative that we take accountability and stop with the mindset that an individual contribution is too small to make a difference. Now, more than ever, let's use the community that our parents have worked so hard to create to rally together, raise our voice, and take action. My sincerest hope is that we can all stand together in unity and agree that not only is it our duty to create a nation and a world that is truly equal, but understand that it is our immigrant parents who have given us a platform to stand on to do just this. The next generation is growing. They are intently watching, and I know so many of them are here with us in the audience today. They will soon take the reins and lead the charge. So let's lead by example and lay a solid foundation to give them the courage and confidence to influence and make changes larger than we could ever achieve, just like our parents did for us. The ladies of Ameya Performing Arts would like to thank all of our families and friends for their constant support and encouragement. Our dance gurus, who have molded us into artists through years of training and continue to support our our endeavors with love and enthusiasm. Our speakers tonight, Neerja, Banka, and Suruchi Kimhil, for their passion and courage in sharing their personal stories. And last but certainly not least, to all of you, our audience, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for sharing this evening with us and continuing to support our passion and message. As we close out the evening, we would like to share a special tribute to honor all of our parents and their journey to America. We hope the milestones showcased in this video will invoke sweet memories and serve as a beautiful reminder of how hard you've worked to get to where you are today. Thank you so much, and please enjoy the finale of our show.
झीलों का शहर हो, लहरों पे अपना एक घर हो।
हम जो देखें सपने प्यारे सच हो सारे, बस और क्या।
पलकें झुके देखे तुझे बस ये नजर।
सोचो कि झीलों का शहर हो, लहरों पे अपना एक घर हो।
बर्फ हो सर्दियों का हो मौसम, आग के सामने हाथ सेकते हो हम। बर्फ ही बर्फ हो सर्दियों का हो मौसम, आग के सामने हाथ सेकते हो हम।
बैठी रहो आगोश में, रख के तेरे कांधे पे सर।
सोचो के झीलों का शहर हो, लहरों पे अपना एक घर हो। हम जो हो सारे बस और क्या
Junuta, dimta, kirdaka junuta, dimta, kirdaka junuta, dumta, dumta na 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 na, dum ta na 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 na, dum agapa, dum ta na na de na 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 na, dum agasa, da dum da 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 di na 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 na, da da dum da dum da dum da na 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 di na 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 dum, kirda na di na. Gama gama maga ma ba maga zani sa dan dhirana gama gama maga ma ba maga zani sa dan dhirana gama gama maga ma ba maga zani sa come now follow my lead come now follow my lead gama ba maga ma ma ni sa sa gama ba maga ma sa gari sa sa gama ba maga ma gari sa ni ba ma gari ni sa gama ba ni sa why Niri baba ba niri baba ba gari sa ni why pani sa sa pani sa sa pani sa sa why ni sa ba gari sa ni baba ga why come now follow my lead